Good morning. Craig Howard, happy to be with you again this morning. I realized something this morning. I woke up about 5 o'clock this morning and was having some struggles with spasms in my leg. And so I got up and I was moving around and working it out. And during that time, I was praying and I was growing more and more discontented. Um, I am not a person who is used to sitting at home. I'm used to leaving the house right after I do these devotions, and I'm used to being gone till sometimes 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. I live a very busy life, and this knee has severely curtailed my activity. I'm not even able to drive myself as yet. And so with Camille working, um, most of the time I'm here at the house, unless I'm going to physical therapy. And I'm not complaining. Okay, don't that was not a plea for somebody to come pick me up and take me to get an ice cream cone or something. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I realized that this morning I was feeling very discontented. And so it reminded me of how much of a struggle discontentment can be. And I read this morning about an article about James Earl Jones. If you don't know who James Earl Jones was, if you ever watched any of the Star Wars movies that had Darth Vader in them, James Earl Jones was the voice of Darth Vader. He was also in Field of Dreams and a whole host of other commercials. He has this really wonderful, deep voice. And yet, in his younger days, James Earl Jones struggled with a stutter that made it almost impossible for him to talk. So he was very shy and very timid. But he started writing poetry, and he loved writing poetry. And one of his teachers saw his poems and said, James, if you love poetry so much, you should read some of these words. You should put some of these words to voice. And so he began to work at reading his poetry, and then he began to pick up Shakespeare and read some of Shakespeare's sonnets and things like that. And he would struggle. To this day, he still struggles sometimes with certain words and struggling over certain words. But he made a statement to an interviewer backstage one time, and it was a powerful statement. He was talking to James Wax, was referencing his career, and he labeled the career the pursuit of happiness. And Jones had this to say. He said, I pursue happiness by taking one step at a time. I've found great treasures. Every step I take, it's about being content. That's all. I don't know what the pursuit of happiness is. What do you mean, pursuit of happiness? No, contentment. If that doesn't put a glow on your face, nothing else really will. Contentment is something we all struggle sometimes to find. It's a challenge for us. But Paul, with all of his struggles, found a answer to that in Philippians chapter 4. Philippians is my favorite New Testament book of the Bible. And in Philippians chapter 4, it says, I'm not saying this because I'm in need. Paul is saying this. He said, I'm not saying this because I'm in need, for I've learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need. I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all this through him who gives me strength. That's, of course, taken from the New International Version. Contentment isn't found in circumstances. Contentment isn't found in whether I can get up and go someplace and do whatever it is I want to do. Contentment is found in realizing that right here in this moment, God loves me, just like he loves you. And that he's here with me, just like he's with you. And that he cares about me, just like he cares about you. and that he knows and understands my struggles just like he knows and understands your struggles. And he knows my impatience just like he knows whatever it is you're struggling with. And that I can just kind of fall back into his arms and rest in his arms and know that he cares. And in the times where things aren't going quite the way you want them to, I really thought whenever I had this surgery that, a couple of weeks, I'll just force myself to get moving and force myself to get back out there. In a couple of weeks, I'd be on the go. Well, I do plan on being in church this Sunday one way or another, but it's been more of a struggle and more of a challenge than I thought it was going to be, than I understood it to be. I'm improving and I'm happy with the way things are going, and I'm not complaining. I'm not looking for sympathy or anything like that. I'm just saying I didn't understand. And sometimes we don't understand the circumstances that we put ourselves in. We don't understand what the consequences are going to be or what the fallout's going to be. But regardless of the circumstances, we can learn to be content because God is with us, because it's not the end of the journey, and God is going to carry us through. Well, I hope today you know contentment. And if not, just spend a little time talking to God and thinking about his presence with you and how much he loves you and what Easter's all about. It's about his love raising Jesus from the grave. And maybe you'll find that contentment that James Earl Jones talked about. I hope you have a wonderful day today. I hope it's a day filled with amazing blessings. And Lord willing, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye now.